All right, what's up, you guys? This is part two of the draft board. As you can see, I have the previous rankings, or the top 10 rankings from the previous video. Obviously, you got Saar, Risa Shea, Buzelis, Toppich, Shepard, Connect, Holland, Castle, Dillingham, and Klingon. We're going to be doing 11 through 20 today. A lot of these could be a lot different than the consensus, but I'm fine with it. I wanted to get a little bit creative and really start to think about the projection of each guy in the NBA, depending on the situation where they go to and all that. So we're going to start out at 11 this time instead of going backwards. So at 11, I have Devin Carter from Providence. Really a combo guard. Mainly played the point guard last year. I view him as a combo guard, but obviously a dog on defense. That's what he's been described as. The stocks, rebounding, handle, and he improved as a shooter this past year. The mechanics are a little bit different, but it's a lot smoother than it has been. He's improved at that aspect of his game. Definitely the best rebounding guard in the class. I believe it was like he was averaging 7 or 8 rebounds a game, and at that size, that's very, very good. Improvement wise, decision making can get a little bit inconsistent. I'd like to see him. That's kind of why I don't view him as a true lead guard or a true point in the NBA. But his in-between scoring also needs to be added. He doesn't really have a true pull-up jumper. I think it's more of his form. That's why he doesn't really elevate very high when he does that. But I'd like to see him add a little float game out of handoffs, out of pick and rolls on the wing, at the top, above the break, wherever, and just continue to add to his scoring arsenal. And then with the shooting improvements translate. That'll be one of his. That'll be his main swing factor, I believe, and could really affect the way that he how he performs in the NBA. He's 22 years old. A lot of people say, "Are the shooting improvements real?" Obviously, they're real. He got better this past year, and there's a reason why he's in the draft and why he's being viewed so highly now. So I think it will. My comp for him is Bruce Brown and a little bit of Derek White. So kind of those combo guards who are just connective pieces, connectors who can kind of play make a little bit out of the second side, away from the ball, and really just defend really well at a high level. So I like the outlook on Nick Carter, especially for his career. Should have a long-term career. 12, I got Isaiah Collier. He's got star upside. The rim pressure, strength, size. He's super young still. He's got the handle, finishes around the rim really well, and then he competes on defense. I'd like to see it a little bit more consistent, but he's got the tools to be a really, really good offensive-minded point. Can really, I wouldn't say run the offense through him, but would be a really good creator, and just a guy who can really create downhill pressure, and then that would open up so much more for his teammates. He finishes around the rim through contact very well. He deals with contact very well when he's handling the ball out at the top. He handles the pressure. Like I said, the rim pressure. He's a walking paint touch, and that'll be his main thing from earlier on. But the shooting is a question, and it's not consistent right now. He was not a very good free throw shooter. His decision making IQ, the turnovers, that would pop up a little bit too much for my liking as well, which is kind of why he's at 12. But a lot of people are very high on him, and I can see why. If you turn on the tape, he has real potential to be a lead guard in the NBA. Like I said, it's not really an improvement area that he's young. Obviously, he's going to get older. He's going to continue to grow. But as long as he's in a good situation, I'd say, if he gets with a good shooting coach, good development in general, I think that's going to be really huge for him. And I can see him. Honestly, he can be an all-star down the road. He's really good, and especially getting downhill, which is at least he may be the best in the class at least from the guard position. So my comp for him is Eric Bledsoe. I feel like that's kind of a little bit fair. I've seen Tyreek Evans. I can see that a little bit, but I think just the combination of the strength and size at the point guard position and getting downhill is kind of where that comparison kind of leans in for me. That's what I see. So Isaiah Collier there. At 13, I got Tidjane Salaun, kind of a little bit of a mystery man, I guess. Probably one of the higher upsides in the class, 100%. As you can see, the strengths and improvement areas are a little bit lengthy for both. So it's good and bad. He's only 18 years old. He's 6'9", got a really good wingspan, competes on defense. He has high upside, versatility, athleticism, spot-up shooting. He has a really nice looking jumper. And then, of course, he makes some disruptive plays on defense. That's why I put defensive playmaking. He has all the tools to be a good player, a good connective piece, kind of like just a really taller 3-and-D wing. That's why the comp for him is kind of an Obi Toppin. I put Patrick Williams in there. I thought that was pretty good. But improvement wise, the IQ, experience, consistency, all that is going to continue to get better as he grows. And he's only 18, like I mentioned. And a lot of this is the right situation. Like I mentioned, I do think that the handle could improve, especially being 6'9", which is just weird to say that this guy really needs to improve his handle. But that's what the NBA is now. I'd like to see his shot making, especially like pull-up jumpers off the back and test, just taking one dribble jumpers, all stuff like that, and just adding more to his game as he grows. So he's a project. He's a long-term guy, but if a team really wants to buy into upside like this, I would be looking at him, and hopefully he ends up in the right situation. 14 is Jared McCain. I said Seth Curry, Cason Wallace, kind of a combo there. I wouldn't say he's as good as a defender as Cason Wallace, but Seth Curry feels like a good one. He's a knockdown shooter, really plays off the ball well, has a high IQ and feel, and he's a competitor. So that's going to help him defensively. He's not going to be a huge plus on defense right away, maybe not even during his career. But as you can see, he's 6'3", 200 pounds, kind of an older. He's an older young prospect, so he's a freshman, but he'll be 20, so he is 20. But improvement wise, the creation playmaking is kind of limited. He's not the best playmaker or creator with the ball in his hands. Not the best athlete. Doesn't have a really quick first step, but he does well with pump fakes, coming off handoffs, stuff like that. So as long as he's playing with pace, using his body, that 200-pound frame, and I think he just needs to continue to try to add more to his game. Outside of the floor spacing, I don't see a lot out of him right now, but the IQ is there. So, and it seems like the work ethic is there as well. He played himself into the starting lineup for Duke, so I'm not worried about his work ethic. So McCain has a lot of fits in this class. I think he's going to be a good player. At 15, I got Tristan da Silva, 6'9", 215, 23 years old. He's a plug and play. I really like his game. I really would like to see Orlando take him and really create that German three with Mo Wagner, Franz, and then of course da Silva now. He's a plug and play, versatility, has a little bit of a scoring arsenal, can get his own. He spaces the floor, and he's a versatile defender. So reading that, you're like, wow, that sounds like a high-level role player. Obviously, there is some downside to a little bit to his game. He's not the best athlete. I'd like to see him rebound a little bit more physically. His handle's decent, but how much better could he be? He's 23. He'll be 24 at some point during the season, which is older. I'm not totally worried about that, but I like the outlook on him. He'll be an instant impact guy still, I think. My comp for him was Jaquez and Kyle Kuzma. I thought that was fair. I kind of liked Jaquez a little bit more just because of the mid post that they kind of both have, and then the spot up shooting from Kuzma, and then just the versatility that they both bring. I think that's a fair comparison there. So da Silva, I love the outlook on him. He's going to be a good player, probably for a long time in the NBA. At 16, he's been rising a little bit. Ware from Indiana, 7'1", 230. Rim protection, athleticism, vertical threat. He's got upside, and his shot mechanics are really nice. He hit a few threes this year, not on very low volume, but still, like the form. I thought his feet were pretty good, and then even in this picture, you can see. I know he's got his hands off the seams there, but still, it looks good for a 7-footer like that. Improvement wise, the physicality, paint scoring, kind of the touch around the rim I think can improve, and then the feel for the game. I think decision makings, which can actually add into like passing out of the short roll, which those of you who don't know, that's Dallas loved to run that until they played Boston. It's Luka hitting the guy immediately off the screen and roll, whether he's slipping, and then the big man's looking to read out of it. So I would like to see the feel, the passing vision get better there, and then shooting threat is a question, but I think eventually it could be a factor in his game. That's why I have Derek Lively as the comparison for him. He hit a three in game 4, so and the form looked good. They kind of have a similar shot base, and their hand placement is honestly pretty good for a big guy. So I think Lively's a good comp for him. I think that's just a fair comparison for him. So Ware, high upside. I'd buy in on him. 17, Terrence Shannon Jr. from Illinois. 6'6", 220, kind of a guard slash forward. Super athletic, super fast in the open floor. Absolute transition monster. I was watching some of his tape yesterday, and it's just he is super aggressive in the open floor. He's a microwave scorer, quick release, super pure. A little bit lower, like his release is a little bit lower. It's more down here instead of kind of up near his face. But it goes in. He's got range. He's got the physical tools. He's older. Like I said, he's 23, but he'll be 24 by his first year. But he's a sniper, and he's just a smooth player. I think the over aggressiveness is a little bit. It gets a little bit out of hand at times. The offhand, he doesn't. I never really see him use his right hand. And he's 20. By age 24, you got to have that. And I think most of the college production that he had was really relying on his athleticism, and then of course he was able to shoot it. So that worked out really nicely for him. I think his defensive effort is 50-50. You'll see flashes of it. I'd like to see that a lot more. He has all the tools. He's going to be a good player. And then of course the IQ, the over aggressiveness, that kind of pops in at the same time. So I'd like to see him just slow down a little bit while also using his athleticism. I'd like to see him use pace, play out of screen and rolls more. A lot of his screen and rolls, he's going off to the left, or if he's going off to the right, he's always coming back left hand. So I'd like to see him really get more versatile with the hands and add to his scoring bag, especially with pull-ups, floaters, whatever that is. But overall, he can really be a 3-and-D wing with some scoring upside as well. 18, Zach Edey. I'm much higher on him than a lot of people. I think he's going to be a good player. Oh, my bad. The comparison for Terrence Shannon, I had Kelly Oubre, not because he's just lefty, but athletic, defender, and he's a shooter. So that works out nice. Zach Edey, I have Ivica Zubac as the comp. 7'4", 300 pounds, mountain of a man. He just turned 22 as well, so he's still got some growth that he has. Size, free throw shooting, rim protection, and vision. He did a really good job passing out of double teams in the tournament, leading to their national championship run. I know they fell short, but UConn was just obviously a different animal. His form really reminds me of Jokic, but he was a good free throw shooter for his size. That's usually an indicator that he has a possibility of stepping out and hitting threes or even hitting in the mid-range and just trying to stretch it for a little bit more, just adding to his game. And even he himself said it. Like he said he's going to be able to shoot threes in the NBA, and I believe him. He's really worked on his craft over the past 3 or 4 years. So I'm excited to see what he has, especially on whatever team he ends up with. I'd like to see Toronto because they do good developing. So I'd love to see that. Improvement areas, he does have some, obviously. The size is a little bit of a weakness factor as much as it is a strength. The movement, offhand, I don't think he has a very good left hand. He really loves to go over his left shoulder to that right hand jump hook. I think he needs to add more to that. He needs to be able to hit the little up and under, get a little bit more fluid. It's tough, I know, at that size, but his footwork's decent. I'd like to see that kind of play into the left hand working a lot more, stepping through and just getting more balanced. Like I mentioned, the shot mechanics aren't really that bad, but will he become a floor spacer is one of the questions. So we're just going to have to wait and see on that. 19, we got Cody Williams. I'm very low, much lower on him. I think he has the potential to be a good player, but he's young. I know, 6'8", 175 pounds. Like, that's a skinny frame. I weigh more than him, and I'm about 6 inches shorter than him. I got about 10 pounds on him. But he's a good finisher. He's a really good cutter, knows when to cut. He's a solid passer. He's good in transition play, and he's a decent athlete as well. Brother of Jalen Williams. I think that's why a lot of people have him very high. But I personally don't. I think his teammate's better than him. Improvement-wise, his shooting numbers are good. But if you guys really watch, he was low volume. He's not the best spot-up shooter. He was 10 to or he was left open many times during the tournament, or at least the first round of the tournament, or the first two, excuse me. But and then it was one EYBL stat, that little EAU circuit, that the really competitive one. He shot like 25% on catch and shoot threes, and he took like 57, so he hit like 14 or 15. So that has to be a main factor that he really needs to improve. A lot of YouTubers that I've seen are saying that he is a good shooter. I don't think he is right now. Strength and size is another one. That kind of has to do with driving angles. Every time he drives and gets bumped once, he is off the line. So it's rough for him to finish around the rim with that. He's a good finisher when it's open and when he's finishing above the rim off of cuts. But when he has the ball in hands, it's tough for him to get downhill because he gets bumped off his driving line, and it forces him into bad decisions, bad shots. And he just needs to get stronger. But he's only 19, once again. He needs to get better. And then the handle, that kind of has to do with the driving angles. The handle's not very good. But he's a good defender. He's young. He's a good not the best slasher, but he's a good finisher at the rim off of cuts and good in transition play. So he has upside. I'm not a super high on him, but Jaden McDaniels is at least a young one, is definitely a solid comparison for him right now, I'd say. And that's kind of the blueprint for him. That's what I would be watching if I was Cody. So at number 20 to finish it out, Jacoby Walter. I was higher on him throughout the year, and now the over-aggressiveness, the shot taking has kind of dropped me a little bit, but he's only 19 again. This class is younger, but it has some guys that definitely need to work on stuff. Movement shooting, shot making, 3-and-D mold, and he's aggressive. So I'd like to see just how that translates early on. I think the consistency is going to be the big part with him. He especially on the defensive side as well. He's got the frame to defend. He honestly competes really well. I should have mentioned that, the strengths. At least watching him during the tournament and just watching a few of his games during the year. I thought he competed well on the defensive side. I would just like to see it be a little bit more consistent. So, and then the shot taking. He's a little bit over aggressive. He starts to play hero ball a little bit too much, especially when they would get down. But Baylor was obviously a good team, but I guess he was part of the reason why they lost so early in the tournament. But so is everybody. It's a team sport. But he's a decent finisher. He attacks hard off the closeouts. That's really where he's going to get into the paint more of the time. And that's why his shot creation, his handle isn't the best, because he can't really create on his own consistently yet. He's shown flashes of it. It's just not super polished yet, but he's still once again super young. He's going to get experience. He's going to get development, and I think he could end up developing into a KCP type of player. That's why I have his comparison at that. He's got the same frame, around the same weight, and just the similar skill set coming out of college and kind of right now. But Walter, he's got some things to work on, just the IQ portion, shot taking, all that. As long as he works his tail off, I think he's going to end up being a good player. All right, recap wise, obviously we had Devin Carter 11. At 12, we had Collier 13, Tidjane Salaun 14, McCain 15, Tristan Silva 16, Ware 17, Terrence Shannon 18, Zach Edey 19, Cody Williams, and as we just saw, Jacoby Walter at 20. 21 through 30 will be coming out very soon. I will be working on that before the draft, of course. Draft is June 25th and 26th, I believe, so I'll be getting at least one more mock draft out before that. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Stay tuned for the next video. God bless as always. Be praying for you guys. Love you guys. Appreciate it.